G'day guys, Broadcasting Because here with another installment of Pompey's Road to the Top, and in this episode we have 4 very big matches, including our Round 4 League Cup match against Watford. That's a little later to come though. But first of all, Fratton Park plays host to current table toppers in Crystal Palace. Now you might remember from last episode we played Blackpool when they were on top of the table, but since then they have been knocked off by Crystal Palace, and let me say, they were all over us early on in this match. All the momentum was with them. We defended pretty well, I thought, up until that is the 23rd minute, when Jonathan Williams found a way past Palos, who'd been in pretty good form. Well, Crystal Palace were outright favourites, and I think that's rightfully so. From pretty much the 20th minute on, they had the bulk of the chances. Kitson maybe a little bit hard done there not to get a penalty, but I suppose he did get enough of contact on the ball, even though the tackle was from behind. And that was the score at half-time. At home, Portsmouth down 1-0. Well, as the second half began, Crystal Palace came firing once again. They did not let up throughout the rest of the game, and they just piled on attack after attack after attack. And although Palos did pretty well to keep a couple of early chances out, McCarthy was able to put a header past him coming off the corner, and I'll be honest, Crystal Palace really did deserve a second goal. They completely dominated us up forward. Benjani and Agamingbaru came on for Ward and Varney, but to very little effect, as Crystal Palace just continually piled on the pressure, and a mistake at the back from Pearce, not able to clear the ball. Although Palos did make a good save, Murray got the rebound and slotted in goal number 3. The scoreline really did reflect the way the game went. Jamie Mackie got a rocket of a shot on that one, just kept out by the keeper, going for that low right-hand corner. And although we did have a couple of chances, we never really looked threatening. The Crystal Palace defence kept us out pretty well. Sammy Magri limped off at some point with some sort of injury. Not exactly sure how he got it, as Crystal Palace hit the upright. Don't know how it didn't go in really. But nevertheless, I say that a lot nevertheless, I got to stop saying that. That is the end of the match. Portsmouth going down to Crystal Palace 3-0, and that serves really as a bit of an eye-opener to the fact that there is still daylight between us and the teams right up the top of the table. Sam Magri pulled his hamstring, still don't know how he did it in that last match, but he will be out for 3 weeks, and taking that on board in this match against Hull City, the game before our League Cup match against Watford, I was going to take no chances of another injury. I played a lot of my reserve players and pretty much the bulk of our second side. There was no way that I was going to risk any of the top players. Jamie Mackie and Eric Husserklep made a return to the side, and up against a full-strength Hull City side who are about a mid-table team. They played pretty well at home. I wasn't looking to throw the game. Henderson with an excellent save there, but I really still did want the 3 points, even though we were only fielding about a second-rate side. And Henderson played pretty well in goals actually for this game. He did keep out a couple of decent shots, particularly from Matt Fright, who is just on fire for Hull City at the moment. But I do not know how on earth that got past Henderson from that sort of an angle. The ball was pretty much behind Matt Fright when he hit it. This angle probably does it justice. That takes pretty much perfect timing for the header from Matt Fright. So I guess if that's the sort of goal we're going to concede, I'm probably going to have to take that. Henderson did play well in goals, so did the Hull City keeper as well, but this was just the sort of thing. In the 90th minute, it summed up the game. It was a very scrappy game in the wet weather, and we didn't really play that well, even though it was our second side, and Hull City were able to grab a 2-0 win over Portsmouth. It's not a massive concern, but it is still a hiccup in our campaign, and not one that I would look upon too fondly. Eric Husserklep just played shockingly. I'm going to be honest. He did not have a good game at all. He's not helping himself, to be perfectly honest. But enough about him. It is all about this match. Round 4 League Cup match against Watford, a team that we beat 3-1 away from home in the last episode in the npower Championship. This one is going to be big. Watford would have been determined to make up for our embarrassment of them when they were at home just 2 weeks before, but it was Portsmouth that got the first good chance of the game as Luke Varney broke away, but Taylor was up to it with a good save. To be honest, that pretty much summed up the first half. We just threw it all at Watford. We were determined, just desperate to make sure that we got through to the quarterfinals, and we had a lot more shots than them. In fact, Watford only managed 1 shot for the entire half, and just to make sure that our dominance paid off for something, converting pressure into points is so important, and that's exactly what Dave Kitson did. We took it from one end to the other, and Kitson smacked it into the top right corner past the stretch of Taylor, nothing he could do about it, and the man who is he cannot stop scoring. He scored so many goals so far, Kitson, just absolutely on fire at the moment. Watford did have one late chance to maybe force an equaliser, but the cross was pretty poorly delivered, and Portsmouth went into the half-time break at 1-0 up at home thanks to Dave Kitson. Well, the second half started just like the first one ended. We defended very solidly, keeping Watford at bay, but we had an excellent chance as Norris charged down 2 consecutive clearances, but he completely sprayed the shot, unfortunately, and couldn't even get it on target. But we just kept on attacking. We were relentless in our efforts going forward. I brought on Martin for Ituhu because his stamina was running a bit low. He played quite a bit of football. Watford, to their credit, put together an excellent stretch of play, but Halford was thankfully equal to keep out the sweaty goal. No sweaty goals today. The only problem was, though, that for some reason from about the 70th minute on, we just couldn't really stick our tackles. Every time we made a tackle, the ball seemed to go back to Watford, and every time we tried to make a tackle, it just didn't really seem to be effective. You see, their wins seemed to get in a good effort, but just to no avail. They brought on Garner for McLean, who I believe they signed from Hull City during the transfer window. And how about it, in the 84th minute, Garner finds the back of the net with his head. We completely dominated this game. We were all over Watford. I was just, my face did not leave my palm for about 2 minutes straight. And when Aguming Badu finds himself in a world of space, he had all the time in the world to hit that, straight in front of goal, just curled it over the top corner. If he'd have sunk that, that would have just about made my day. Justice would have been done, but that is not the case at this point in time. The full-time whistle went, and Portsmouth and Watford were level at 1 goal apiece. I brought on Benjani, you know I would, for Joel Ward just before the start of extra time, and we went straight back on the attack. But something happened to Watford from the 75th minute on, and they just started to attack. Now, I don't know, Kitson had a golden opportunity to go straight through on goal, but just couldn't control it, and the same thing happened here for Aguming Badu, except he was able to get a good shot on, and just a reaction save from Taylor kept him out, and that is how we went into half-time extra time at 1 apiece. So with scores level at half-time extra time, I did the unthinkable. I brought on Husserklep, but that did absolutely nothing, and we went into penalties. So, considering how well Loach had kept throughout the game so far for Watford, I wasn't too confident. I'm never confident going into penalties. I'm not really that good at them. So Dave Kitson, my #1 goal scorer so far this season, steps up for the first penalty and makes no mistake as he slots it past Loach. Watford step up now. It's Yates with the first shot. He's an excellent penalty taker, and he just sprays it wide. He had Palos beaten. All he needed to do was get it on target, and he just sprayed it well wide. But as soon as I thought we might be getting the upper hand in this shootout, Martins gets his saved as Loach guesses the right way, and all of a sudden we've let Watford right back into it. Number 18 for Watford stepped up and put it right in the corner. Inch perfect delivery for the penalty. Palos guessed the right way, but it was just out of reach. Now everyone had their eyes on this penalty. Husserklep steps up and makes no mistake. That is the first step down a very long road of redemption for Eric Husserklep. Deeney was next up for Watford, and his delivery was gun barrel straight down the middle. Palos had no idea, he didn't see it coming, and we were back level at 2-2 in the penalty shootout. Halford now, who was surprisingly good at both free kicks and penalties, stepped up and made no mistake. He slotted it past Loach. 3-2, and we are looking very nice in this penalty shootout. Now Hogg steps up, who had pretty much none of the ball in the whole game, and he just belted it flush into the crossbar. He had Palos beaten, but Palos didn't need to do anything about it. Hogg really should have done a lot better there, and because of his miss, Aguming Badu was in the position to send us through to the quarter-finals as the only championship side, the only non-Premier League side in the quarter-finals. And he makes no mistake to send us through to the quarterfinals. What a magnificent result. Justice is finally done in the end. We deserve that win. I hate to say it, but we really did deserve that win. We were all over Watford, and it is great to get that victory at last in the penalty shootout. For anyone that's interested, those are the results of the other matches that were played today, and here is the fixture for the quarterfinals of the League Cup. There are 8 teams remaining, of which we are one. We will be playing Everton on the 29th of November, which is at the end of 2 months' time. Very much looking forward to that. Fingers crossed we can progress to the semi-finals, maybe even go further. Well, our final game of the episode is up against Burnley, who now these guys are on top of the table. It's just so tight in the top, really the top 10 positions of the Empower Championship table, and we're back to very close to full strength lineup with Kitson and Jamie Mackie up front, Agmin Badu in the middle, and Palos in goals. Talak will play as a right back to give a bit of a rest to Win, and Magri as well, who's still recovering from that injury. We came into this game in pretty average form, to be honest. We'd lost our last 2 games pretty convincingly. We'd been held scoreless against both Crystal Palace and Hull City, so things weren't looking too good, and McCoy made sure of that when he put them in front in just the 24th minute. Burnley are in fact on top of the table at the moment. We've played 3 different teams that have topped the table in the last month. Crystal Palace, Blackpool, and now Burnley. So that just shows how close it is at the top of the table at the moment, and we are trying so hard to really break into those top couple of teams. But at half-time, that was the score. Portsmouth down 1-0 at home. I brought on Benjani. You know I was going to do it for Luke Varney, who has played very well for me. I haven't mentioned him too much, actually, Luke Varney, but he has played well. And we really did pick up in that second half. We increased our chances. We had a lot more shots on goal. Benjani was through here and just gets taken out by Tripper, no pun intended. And I just thought it deserved a red card. It wasn't really last man, but he was through on goal and nothing came of the free kick. Bit disappointed there, but nevertheless we continued and we were valiant in our efforts until finally we get our just desserts when Kitson gets his penalty for getting absolutely taken out. Again, probably should have been a red card. Made no contact with the ball from behind when he was clearly going through on goal. I mean, make of the replay what you like. It appeared to me, here we go, Kitson running through on goal, gets absolutely no touch on the ball whatsoever. I think Camporisi is pretty lucky there. And since he is in such good form, I thought who better to take the penalty than Dave Kitson. And just like he did in the penalty shootout against Watford, he makes no mistake. A clinical finish to level the scores in the 73rd minute. That is how it stayed. There was very little that happened in the rest of the game. Burnley did have a chance right at the end of the game, but Campisi took on a very ambitious shot on the volley from well outside the box, never going to trouble Palos there. And that's how the scores remained at 1 apiece, Portsmouth and Burnley. We got the point at home in a difficult, hard-fought game. We only got 1 point, in fact, during this episode in the Empower Championship, but nevertheless, Eric Kusaklep came up to me at the end of this game. He said, "I'm really stoked that you took my concerns seriously and were prepared to give me a chance." I might just be warming to this guy, you know, he might just be turning things around. Well, at the end of the month of October, we take a look at the ladder and we have slipped back to 8th position. You take a look at the points and we had 2 tough losses in this episode, and that is the reason we've slipped so far, because it is just so congested. It is so close from pretty much 9th, 8th position right the way up to 1st. It is anyone's game still at this early stage as we head into November, and there's no change down the bottom of the ladder. In fact, there is one change. Coventry City have strung a few wins together to lift themselves up out of the relegation zone and settle in at 19th. Barnsley have slipped down to take their place. And now it is that time of the month, guys. The end of the month. It is time for Goal and Player of the Month. Goal of the month this month went to the current Empower Championship goal scoring leader, Dave Kitson. It came off the end of beautiful end-to-end play against Watford in our League Cup match, and he blasted it into the top right-hand corner. Couldn't have placed it any better past Loach. Excellent work from Kitson, who is just absolutely in the form of his life at the moment. I've said it numerous times, and I really can't stress enough how good form this guy's in. And Dave Kitson was good enough to win Player of the Month as well. He had a big month, scoring lots and lots of goals, including the winner against West Ham and a very crucial goal against Watford as well. He also scored a hat-trick in this month against Watford. Brilliant player and having a stellar season so far. fingers crossed he can continue this form up right throughout the season. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. That is the end of episode number 9 of Pompey's Road to the Top. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm really enjoying making it. Be sure to check out for when the next video lands. Keep an eye out. It won't be too far away. And please do leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate all the support that I've been getting so far. So thank you very much, guys. Cheers and stay tuned.